Have you ever had a goal that stayed just a dream? Maybe you wrote it down once in a notebook you no longer open with all the hope in the world. Maybe it kept you awake at night whispering that your life could be more. And maybe nothing happened. Not because you didn't care, not because you weren't capable, but because something was missing. Jim Rohn once said, "Discipline is the bridge between goals and accomplishment." And that bridge, it doesn't build itself. Most people don't fail because they lack vision. They fail because they keep waiting. Waiting for the right time to start. Waiting for motivation. Waiting to feel ready. Waiting until life feels easier. But here's the truth. You don't need more motivation. You need a better bridge. This video isn't about hype. It's not a cheerleading session. It's not a go harder, do more kind of message. It's about movement, from where you are to where you want to be, from dreaming to doing. And that journey, it starts with one invisible choice: discipline. Discipline isn't loud. It doesn't shout. It's quiet. It's consistent. It's what shows up when the excitement fades. And that journey, it's not about perfection. It's not about being a machine. It's about choosing what matters again and again, even when it's hard. Today, we're going to unpack this bridge. We're going to explore why so many people get stuck on the side of desire, never crossing into the land of results. And more importantly, we'll walk step by step into the other side. Because if you've ever had a goal that stayed just a dream, it's time to build the bridge. Welcome to this space. This isn't just a video, it's a reset, a quiet invitation to remember who you are, what you want, and what it will truly take to get there. Let's begin. Let's talk about discipline. Let's build the bridge. Let's be honest. We all know someone who's incredibly talented. Maybe it's even you. They have big dreams. They talk about them passionately. They want to write a book, start a business, get fit, learn a new skill, change their life. And yet, nothing happens. Months go by, then years, and the dream, still a dream. Why? Because between intention and achievement, there is a gap. And in that gap, most people fall. They fall into the trap of waiting. Waiting for motivation, waiting for the perfect moment, waiting for life to calm down. But here's the truth no one wants to say. The perfect time never comes. And if you're waiting to feel motivated every day, you'll be waiting forever. Motivation is like a spark. It lights the fire. But discipline keeps it burning. Here's what usually happens. Someone wakes up inspired. They feel the urge to change. Maybe they just watched a powerful video or read a life-changing quote. They decide, this is it. I'm starting today. Day 1 goes great. Day 2 is okay. Day 3, life gets in the way. They're tired, busy, distracted, uninspired, and so the habit breaks. They skip one day, then 2, then they tell themselves, I'll start over next week. And before they realize it, it's been 6 months. Sound familiar? This cycle of starting and stopping isn't about laziness. It's about fragility. When your routine depends on how you feel, it will always be unstable. Because feelings are like the weather. They change. One day you're full of energy. The next, you're stressed, sad, overwhelmed. If your action depends on emotion, you'll never build momentum. Discipline, on the other hand, doesn't ask how you feel. It simply asks what matters most right now. Jim Rohn put it perfectly. Discipline is the bridge between goals and accomplishment. Without that bridge, all we have are good intentions. And good intentions don't change lives. Action does. Here's the problem in our modern world. We live in a culture of comfort. We're taught to chase ease, swipe instead of study, stream instead of stretch, postpone instead of pursue. Comfort is addictive. It whispers you deserve to rest. It convinces us that tomorrow will be better, that we'll magically wake up motivated and ready. But tomorrow is just another today, waiting for discipline. Let's look at some real-life examples. You want to get healthier. You buy the workout gear, maybe even a gym membership. You feel great about the idea. But when it's cold in the morning, when you slept poorly, when no one's watching, it's easy to skip because the vision is there, but the bridge is missing. Or maybe you want to build a side business. You brainstorm ideas. You You buy a domain name. You dream. But after a long day at work, Netflix sounds easier than designing that first product. Again, the bridge is missing. Sometimes it's not even about something big. Maybe it's something simple. Waking up 30 minutes earlier to journal, drinking more water, reading 10 pages of a book every day. These seem so small, so manageable, but when they don't happen consistently, the guilt sets in. You start to believe you're incapable of change. Discipline isn't glamorous. It doesn't feel good right away. There's no applause when you wake up early, no audience when you practice quietly, but over time, it changes everything. Let's reframe the idea. Discipline is not punishment. It's power. It's not self-denial. It's self-respect. It's choosing your future self over your current comfort. It's refusing to let fleeting emotions dictate long-term progress. And that is where most people fail. They don't have a system that supports discipline. They rely on bursts of motivation. They treat their dreams like fireworks, bright and beautiful, but gone in seconds. What they need is a rhythm, a quiet beat that says, I show up, no matter what. Discipline isn't about never missing a day. It's about returning again and again. It's about being the kind of person who keeps a promise to themselves. Let's talk about the deeper problem. Inconsistency erodes self-trust. When you say you'll do something and you don't, you stop believing yourself. Your brain records every broken commitment, and soon it whispers, you always quit. That becomes your identity. And identities are powerful. They shape your actions, your decisions, your expectations. When you believe you're undisciplined, you act that way. But when you begin to act with discipline, even in small ways, you reshape how you see yourself. You're not bad at finishing things. You're just one consistent decision away from rewriting that story. When you practice discipline, even in small ways, you rebuild that trust. You become someone who follows through. And that shift from dreaming to doing, from hoping to showing up, that's where real change begins. So ask yourself, where have you been waiting? Where have you let feelings dictate your progress? Where do you need to show up even when it's inconvenient? Where could just 10 minutes a day, done consistently, change your life? Because here's the good news. Discipline is a skill. It can be learned. It can be trained. It can start today. One small action, one non-negotiable habit, one promise you keep to yourself. Jim Rohn didn't become a master of personal growth overnight. He built habits. He practiced. He showed up when no one else did. He built his bridge, one plank at a time. You can too, but only if you stop waiting and start building the bridge. Let's begin with the quote that sits at the heart of today's talk. Discipline is the bridge between goals and accomplishment. Jim Rohn. It sounds simple, almost too simple. But if you understand this one sentence deeply and live it consistently, your entire life can change. Let's break it down. Part 1. Discipline. What is discipline? Many people hear that word and think of punishment, restriction, a cold, joyless way of living. But that's not what Jim Rohn meant. To him, discipline was freedom. It's the ability to choose long-term benefit over short-term pleasure. It's saying yes to your goals, even when it means saying no to distractions. Jim once said, discipline is the foundation upon which all success is built. Lack of discipline inevitably leads to failure. Discipline is the daily decision to show up, to honor your commitments, to keep your word to yourself even when no one is watching. It's not flashy, it's not glamorous, but it's powerful. In fact, most people don't fail because they lack goals. They fail because they lack the discipline to follow through. Jim called it the glue that binds you to your vision. Without discipline, your dreams stay dreams. With it, even average goals become inevitable victories. Let's go deeper. Discipline is not about rigidity. It's about alignment. It's aligning your daily actions with your deeper values. It's the inner strength to say, I choose this, not because I have to, but because I want what's on the other side. Discipline is not self-denial, it's self-respect. It's the act of choosing growth over comfort, integrity over convenience, progress over perfection. And here's the key, discipline compounds. One disciplined act builds another. It becomes a rhythm, and rhythm becomes a structure. Discipline is the builder of trust. not just with others, but with yourself. When you follow through, you change your identity from someone who dreams to someone who does. So don't just ask, what should I do? Ask, who do I want to become? And let your discipline be the answer. Part 2, the bridge. Now let's talk about that metaphor, the bridge. Jim didn't say discipline is the goal. He didn't say it is the accomplishment. He said it's the bridge, and that matters. Because without that bridge, everything else is just a dream. Think about a real bridge. It spans something wide, something uncertain, something risky. It takes effort to design, to build, to maintain. Without it, you're stuck. With it, you can cross. In life, that river is the gap between who you are and who you want to become. Discipline is what carries you across. Every time you make a small, intentional choice in alignment with your goals, you lay another plank. Read one page today, that's a plank. Skip sugar, another plank. Take a deep breath before reacting, one more plank. Say no to distraction, add it to the bridge. And slowly, that bridge begins to form. Not a grand structure, but a humble path, solidified by consistency. One day it's strong enough to carry your vision, strong enough to hold both ambition and vulnerability. But remember, the bridge doesn't build itself. You build it, day by day, choice by choice. Each act may seem small, but together, they are unstoppable. Every time you choose discipline over distraction, you are not just building a bridge, you are becoming the kind of person who walks across it. Part 3, between goals and accomplishment. This part is subtle, but it's everything. Your goals are the beginning. They give you direction, they spark your dreams. But here's the painful truth, they're not enough. Jim said, goals are like magnets. They pull you forward, but only if you move your feet. Most people never move. They admire the goal, they write it down, they dream, but they don't act. You move your feet through discipline, through repetition, through daily, often boring, but powerful choices. Accomplishment is the harvest, but that visible success, it sits atop an invisible mountain, and that mountain is discipline. It's the hours no one sees, the early mornings, the quiet wins, the skipped distractions, the tiny moments of courage. Discipline is the seed, the soil, the watering, the waiting, the weeding. It's everything underneath the surface. And here's what you gain first, not results, but momentum, identity, dignity. And from that dignity, you build self-respect, because you didn't just want the goal, you earned it. You became the person who could hold it. Discipline makes your success real, because it makes it yours. Discipline in action, 2 examples. 1. Reading for growth. Jim Rohn said, miss a meal if you have to, but don't miss a book. Reading 10 pages a day might seem small, but over a year, that's 12 books. That's a new mind. Growth doesn't require brilliance, just discipline. 2. Daily routines. Wake up 30 minutes earlier, plan your day. That single habit can reshape your focus, but it's not about the time, it's about the choice. A daily decision, that's discipline. Why this matters more than ever in today's world, distraction is a currency. Notifications, news, noise. Discipline is your shield, your anchor, your compass. Without it, we drift. With it, we direct. How to practice discipline, Jim Rohn style. Tool number 1, the daily journal. Reflect on your day. Record wins. Learn from slip-ups. Discipline begins with awareness. Tool number 2, the power of one habit. Pick one habit. Do it daily. Brush your mind like you brush your teeth. Build integrity. Build rhythm. Tool number 3, review your goals weekly. Check in. Adjust. Refocus. Discipline isn't rigidity, it's responsiveness. Final thoughts. Becoming the bridge. Jim Rohn didn't speak to impress. He spoke to awaken. He believed change was possible through choice. You don't need to be perfect, you just need to show up. With discipline, one day at a time, one act at a time, because discipline is the bridge, and you are the builder. Pick up your tools, lay the planks, and walk your way into accomplishment. One step, one choice, one disciplined day at a time. The bridge is yours to build. Part 3, between goals and accomplishment. This part is subtle but powerful. In fact, it's the quiet hinge upon which every meaningful transformation turns. Your goals are the starting point. They are your dreams, your desires, your plans. They represent the ideal future you long for, what you would love to achieve, become, or experience. They matter deeply because they give us direction, purpose, vision. But here's the painful truth: they're not enough. Jim said, "Goals are like magnets. They pull you forward, but only if you move your feet." And this is where most people fall short. They love the magnet, they admire it, talk about it, write it in their journals, but they never actually move. And how do you move your feet? Not with wishful thinking, not with grand declarations. You move your feet through action, through repetition, through discipline. Accomplishment is the result. It's the harvest, the outcome, the moment you can say, "I did it." It's what others celebrate, what shows up in your resume, your bank account, your relationships, your health. But that visible success, it sits on top of an invisible mountain, and that mountain is discipline. Discipline is the quiet work, the private battle, the inner agreement you make with your future self and keep. It's the hours no one counts, the early mornings when you rise while others sleep, the rejected drafts no one will ever read, the healthy meal you chose while everyone else grabbed takeout, the walk you took even when it rained, the podcast you listened to while folding laundry, the spreadsheet you fixed at 10 p.m., the moment you stopped scrolling and started studying. It's choosing what's right over what's easy, over and over again. If success is the harvest, then discipline is not just the daily watering of the seed. It's also the clearing of the weeds, the checking of the soil, the patient waiting, and the protection of that fragile sprout. And here's the thing: discipline won't give you the outcome overnight, but it will give you something better first. It gives you momentum, it gives you identity, it gives you dignity, and over time that dignity builds self-respect. The quiet knowing that you don't just want the goal, you've earned it. You've become someone capable of sustaining it. Because accomplishment without identity is temporary, but when you build discipline into your core, your results are no longer just wins, they're who you are. So yes, goals matter, but without the discipline to connect the dots, they remain sketches. Dreams left in the clouds. Discipline is the path, accomplishment is the arrival, and the steps, they're yours to take, one act of discipline at a time. Discipline in action, 2 examples. 1, reading for growth. Jim Rohn was famous for saying, "Miss a meal if you have to, but don't miss a book." He believed in daily personal development, but most people don't read. They say, "I want to grow, I want to succeed," but they scroll instead of study. They consume content, but they don't reflect. Reading 10 pages a day seems like nothing, but over a year, that's 3,650 pages. That's 12 books. That's a new mind. The difference between those who grow and those who stagnate isn't intelligence, it's discipline. 2, daily routines. Jim often taught the power of simple disciplines. Success is a few simple disciplines practiced every day. Failure is a few errors in judgment repeated every day. Let's say you wake up 30 minutes earlier each morning to plan your day. Just that one act consistently can transform your time management, your clarity, your calm, but it requires a choice, a repeatable decision. That's discipline. Why this matters more than ever: in today's world, distraction is a currency. We are constantly invited to break our focus. Notifications, entertainment, news, noise. And that's why discipline is your superpower. It's what gives you back control. It's how you protect your energy, your vision, your values. Without discipline, we drift. With it, we direct. Without it, life happens to us. With it, we build a life that happens through us. Breath. How to practice discipline. Let's turn philosophy into practice. Here are 3 tools Jim Rohn lived by. Tool number 1, the daily journal. Jim was an advocate for journaling, not just to record events, but to reflect on life. Don't just let life happen to you. Make life happen for you. Write about your choices, your wins, your slip-ups. Discipline begins with awareness, and writing gives you that awareness. Tool number 2, the power of one habit. Pick one small habit, just one. Do it daily without excuse. Brush your mind like you brush your teeth. This builds integrity, momentum, confidence. Tool 3, review your goals weekly. Don't just write goals in January. Review them every Sunday. Ask, am I moving closer? What did I do this week that matters? What do I need to adjust? Discipline is not rigidity, it's responsiveness. Final thoughts. Becoming the bridge. Rohn didn't speak to impress. He spoke to awaken. He believed every person, no matter their background, could change their life through daily choices. You don't need to be perfect. You don't need to do it all. You just need to show up with discipline, one day at a time, one act at a time, because discipline is the bridge. And you are the builder. You are the one who decides how far that bridge goes, how strong it is, how wide the life on the other side will be. Don't just stand on the riverbank of your dreams. Pick up your tools, lay the planks, and walk your way into accomplishment. One step, one choice, one disciplined day at a time. The bridge is yours to build. You've heard the quote, you've seen the gap, you've begun to understand the bridge. Now it's time to walk. Because inspiration without action is just entertainment. What transforms a life isn't what we know, it's what we do repeatedly. So let's bring the philosophy home. Let's translate discipline into something tangible, something small enough to begin today. Here are 3 powerful, practical things you can start doing immediately to build your bridge, and more importantly, sustain it. 1. Create your one non-negotiable habit. What it is, a single, meaningful action you commit to doing every day, no matter what. It's your no matter what habit. Your even if I'm tired, even if I'm late, even if I fail at everything else today, this gets done. Why it works. Discipline doesn't require doing everything. It begins by doing something, reliably. The brain learns trust through consistency. When you keep one promise to yourself every day, your identity shifts. You become the kind of person who shows up. It's not about the size of the habit, it's about the repetition. Examples: write 3 lines in your journal, drink 500 milliliters of water first thing in the morning, do 10 push-ups before your shower, read 1 page of a book before bed, meditate for 2 minutes before lunch. Expanded tip: don't underestimate simplicity. The key is sustainability. Want to go deeper? Give it a name. Call it your keystone habit. Make it part of your story. I'm the kind of person who never goes to sleep without writing. Attach identity to the habit and it becomes more than an action. It becomes who you are. Pro tip: link it to something that already happens every day. Wake up, do it. Brush your teeth, do it. End your workday, do it. That's how routines become rituals, and rituals create rhythm. Rhythm becomes discipline. 2. Build your bridge plan. Goal, daily action, timeline. What it is: a simple visual map that connects your big vision to your small steps. Think of it as the blueprint of your personal bridge. Why it works. Most goals fail not because they're too big, but because the steps between are too vague. The bridge plan forces clarity. What exactly do I want? What small action moves me toward that? When and how will I measure progress? Here's how to create yours. Step 1. Choose a clear, specific goal. Not be healthier, but walk 30 minutes 5 days a week. Not start a business, but get 1 paying client by July. Not be more creative, but draw 1 sketch every weekday. Make it measurable. Make it matter. Step 2. Break it into a daily discipline. Ask, what's one thing I can do every day that moves this forward? If the goal is fitness, stretch for 10 minutes daily. If it's writing a book, write 100 words each morning. If it's saving money, record every expense. If it's a better relationship, send 1 kind message daily. Small daily habits create compound transformation. Step 3. Time box it. Give yourself a timeline. 30 days, 90 days, a season, a year. A bridge needs a destination and a deadline. Write it out like this. Goal: launch a blog by July 1st. Daily action: write 1 paragraph every morning at 7 a.m. Timeline: start May 1st, publish July 1st, 60 days. Now you're no longer hoping, you're the advanced layer. Add checkpoints every 2 weeks. These mini assessments keep you on track. Ask, am I closer than I was? What did I learn? What will I tweak? Bonus: track your progress visually. Use a habit tracker. Cross off each day. Watch the momentum grow. Even better, use red X's on a wall calendar. That visual chain motivates you to not break the streak. Prefer digital? Apps like Habitica, Streaks, or Notion work wonders. 3. Start a discipline reflection journal. What it is, a 5-minute nightly practice where you reflect on how you practice discipline today. Why it works. You can't grow what you don't observe. Discipline isn't just something you do. It's something you notice, name, and nurture. This journal helps you build self-awareness and self-respect. It teaches you to celebrate small wins and learn from slip-ups. It builds memory and momentum. How to do it. Each night, write 3 short things. 1. Today I honored discipline when I, example, wrote even when I was tired, chose a salad instead of fast food, resisted the urge to check my phone during work. 2. The hardest moment was, example, saying no to scrolling in bed, getting up early, staying silent during a tough conversation. 3. Tomorrow I will show up by, example, waking up 15 minutes earlier, reviewing my goals before breakfast, drinking water before coffee. That's it, 3 sentences. But over time, you'll build a library of courage, proof that you are disciplined, that you're building your bridge. Optional addition, once a week add a Sunday summary. What went well? What felt hard? What's one insight I gained? Why this matters. When you track your behavior, you take ownership of your life. When you reflect with kindness, you grow without guilt. When you show up on paper, you begin showing up in person. And one day, those 3-line entries will tell the story of your transformation. Final word. Start small, win daily. Discipline doesn't require dramatic overhaul. It begins in the mundane, in the 1 minute you could have skipped but didn't, in the one time you could have quit but chose to stay. Your life changes when you change. So choose one action, pick your non-negotiable habit, draw your bridge plan, write your first journal reflection tonight, and tomorrow, begin again. Not because it's easy, but because it's worth it, because you're worth it. And every time you choose discipline, you place another plank on the bridge. One day soon, you'll look back and realize you crossed, and you built it yourself. Step by step, brick by brick, choice by choice. Let the first one be today, and let tomorrow prove it. Let's take a breath. Let's pause here, at the edge of all you've just walked through. You've reflected on the truth of discipline, its quiet strength, its role as the bridge between where you are and where you long to be. You've traced the gap between goals and accomplishment. And more importantly, you've seen that the answer isn't out there. It's in here. Discipline is not for the chosen few. It's not about being perfect or intense or extraordinary. It's about being devoted in the small, steady ways most people overlook. It's about saying, I may not control the outcome, but I do control whether I show up. And showing up again and again, that's how everything changes. So if there's one message to carry with you, it's this. Discipline is not punishment. It's self-respect. It's how you love yourself in action. It's how you reclaim agency when the world feels chaotic. It's how you stay rooted when life is uncertain. It's how you gently but firmly rise from within. Because in the moments when no one else is cheering you on, discipline becomes your quiet applause, your steady anchor, your whisper in the dark saying, keep going. The world may praise the results, but your soul will remember the rituals. The days you did it even when you didn't feel like it. The moments you chose alignment over excuse. The days you kept the promise, the breath you took before reacting, the tiny step you chose over paralysis, the small decision that looked invisible from the outside but felt monumental inside. Those are sacred. And if you've stumbled, that's okay. This isn't about guilt. It's about coming home to your integrity. Every time you return to discipline, you rewrite the story. You remind yourself, I am someone who begins again. You get to start again not because you failed, but because you're growing. Because self-leadership isn't linear. It's recursive, it loops, it refines. Because the bridge isn't built in one day, it's built in quiet mornings, in small wins, in invisible choices. In the long stretches of discomfort, no one applauds. It's built through staying in the tension between who you are and who you're becoming. It's built when no one is watching, except the version of you who's waiting on the other side. And they're not waiting for you to be perfect. They're waiting for you to start. To take one step, to act even in fear, to begin even when you're not ready, to breathe and choose again. to honor the process even when the progress feels slow. Because the truth is, most of us don't need more information. We need more courage to apply what we already know. We need more kindness to forgive the gap, and more resolve to close it, plank by plank. So here's your invitation. Let this be the day you build the first plank, or the next. Let this be the day you renew the vow. Let this be the moment you choose to believe that becoming is still possible. Not with noise, not with pressure, not with performance, but with quiet certainty. I'm building the bridge, because you are. Every time you say no to the easy excuse, say yes to the hard choice, return to the habit you almost abandoned, choose your future self over your current craving, sit with discomfort instead of numbing it. Rest deliberately, not as escape but as restoration. Re-engage after falling off. Reflect without self-judgment. Commit again in the morning after a messy day. Find beauty in the boring, grace in the grit. You are building it. So let's make it real. Let's make it tangible. Let's make it yours. If you're ready to step in, not just with motivation, but with movement, type these words below. I'm building the bridge. Let it be your first declaration, your quiet line in the sand, your inner contract, your signal that something inside you has shifted. Not to be perfect, but to be present, to be accountable, to be in motion, to move from knowing to doing, to move from insight to embodiment, to choose now over never, to say yes to becoming. Because no one else can build this for you, and no one can take it from you. This is your path, your plank, your promise, your healing, your growth, your restoration, your liberation, your legacy, your legacy. So take a breath, stand tall, root into your values, look forward with clarity, and step forward with heart. The bridge is yours. Let's build it.